And we're back. Well, for you guys, I am back. For me, it's still the same day. But we are back with part 2 of my Pendant of Hyacinth book review. And so for this review, I'm going to be talking about all like the secondary characters I really want to talk about. And then of course, the main trio. And then also maybe a little theory at the end. Oh. But without further ado, let's start with Sheila. Also, this goes without saying, but if you haven't watched the first part of my review, highly recommend that you do that before you watch the rest of this part. Also, once again, I'd like to say that this is a spoilers review. Everything I'm going to be talking about in this review is a spoiler. So if you have not completed the book, or you plan on reading it but you haven't done so, don't watch this yet. You can come back later, but I definitely recommend that you read the book first, if you plan on doing so. But if you don't care about spoilers, as we were, I absolutely adore Sheila. I think she is so cute and so sweet. I love her relationship with Anya. I think they are so sweet for each other. Something in particular that I really appreciate about Sheila is also just how protective and like loyal she is towards the people she loves. Like when we meet her in book 1, you can tell just how much love she has for the Kendall family. My absolute favorite Sheila moment, hands down, is when it's during the confrontation between Anya and Chet, and like Chet's getting all up in Anya's face like a little douchebag, and like I'm pretty sure he touched Anya, but I can't remember exactly. But Sheila's basically like, if you fucking touch her, you don't get your fucking grimy ass hands off of her, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fuck you up, bro. And that one was so satisfying. One, because I'm obviously very much rooting for the relationship between Anya and Sheila, but also because I can't stand Chet. Fuck you, Chet. And it was so satisfying. I was like, go Sheila, go! I just love that moment, because Sheila's definitely not like a pushover, but she's definitely more like shy and reserved, so to really see like her like really stand up for Anya, that was just such a great moment. I think that might be my favorite moment in the whole book. But yeah, I just really love this moment because I think that this perfectly demonstrates just like how much Sheila loves like not only Anya, but also just like the Kendall family as a whole, and the lengths that she's willing to go for them. And I also really, like I mentioned in my last part, during the section with Song, but one of my other favorite moments with Sheila is her heart-to-heart with Song when they're talking about relationships and like, you know, boundaries and all that. And I thought that was a really great moment. She really feels like a part of the Kendall family. I love her. She's a great character. All right, buckle up everyone. We're gonna talk about Jay now. Before I even read the book, I knew I was gonna hate Jay, because literally anything that Riley has ever posted that pertains to Jay just showcases how awful of a person he is. Like, everyone hates Jay. Literally everyone. And if you don't hate him, no you don't. You're lying, because you're just trying to be contrarian and different. It's not cute. Jay is awful. Everyone hates him. He's the worst. But yeah, so I was pretty much already prepared to hate him like going in, but god damn, this man is insufferable. Literally every time Jay opened his fucking mouth to say literally anything, I wanted to punch him in the face. Literally every single section of this book that Jay is in, I could not go like 5 seconds without wanting to beat the shit out of him. He is so... oh my god. There is such a long list of reasons of why Jay sucks, which includes, but not limited to, Jay being a possessive and jealous boyfriend after he finds out that Talia and Arielle used to date. Jay ignoring Talia's orders and complaining that he didn't sign up to be her subordinate, so he doesn't have to follow her orders. Also, can I just say, it is so absurd to me that this man ever believed that he was going to be made guardian just because he's a Nepo baby, because he is the laziest motherfucker in this entire book. Literally, this man is always upset. This entire book. His one emotion is just being upset. Always. But the one and only time that Jay is described as being happy in this entire book is when Talia gives him the day off from work. Literally the only time in this entire book where Jay is described as being even like remotely happy is when he doesn't have to do the one job that he's supposed to do. Like, it's okay to not be cut out for your job. It's okay to hate your job. A lot of people do. But when your job is literally about protecting the lives of other people and that their safety is dependent on you, like, maybe you should quit your fucking job if you're gonna have the audacity to not do your job simply because you did not get the little title that you wanted. Like, grow the fuck up, man. It's not even that Jay can't do his job. It's that literally he's just pissed that his mommy didn't make him the guardian. Like, that is the only reason why he is acting this way. Like, Jay has demonstrated that he is still, like, physically capable of doing this job, but literally, and like, it would be one thing if he was, like, under insurmountable pressure and he was being crushed by the weight of it, but that's not what's happening here at all, because that would be one thing, but that's not what's going on here. Literally, the only thing that Jay is stressed about is Talia potentially still being in love with Arielle, even though she literally has not seen him or mentioned him in years. Like, yeah, she might still have lingering feelings, but, like, you literally have no grounds to go off of, you dumbass. Jay's just mad that this is technically not the job he signed up for, even though it literally is, because literally, it, like, when we first meet Jay in the book, Talia literally says that she and Harmony and Jay, like, they all knew what they were signing up for when they were in training for the guardian position. So, like, literally, Jay, he's just being a little bitch. That's just it. He's literally just being a fucking bitch. So honestly, Jay just needs to either shut the fuck up or quit. Because Jay also has, like, this habit of saying things to Talia, things that are really insensitive when he's trying to comfort her, and then he gets mad at her for being upset that he was the one who said something insensitive. Like, he's also just a bad partner overall, because he literally never checks in on Talia. Like, he never tries to see how she's doing, like, emotionally or mentally, despite the fact that she's literally, like, being tasked with saving, like, the entire world. Like, that's, even though that's, like, nobody is telling her to do that, that's basically what's happening, right? And Jay is just like, oh, you're good, right? Like, he does not care. He does not give a fuck about Talia. I'm like, does he even like her? Do you even like her? Because I don't even think he likes Talia. Oh, and let's not forget the fact that he is literally cheating on Talia with Harmony. Like, also, if you didn't see Riley's post about it, you honestly might have missed it, because the way it's written in the book is actually very subtle, which I thought that was really cool. That's not, like, super in your face, like Talia, like, walking in on them or anything, but, like, I really like the way that Riley sets that up. But yeah, so anyway, Jay is fucking cheating on Talia with Harmony. So then I'm just like, why are you even in a relationship with Talia? Like, I was trying to understand it, and the only thing that I can think of is, so, like, what I think is going on here is that, so Jay, very upset, obviously, that he didn't get to be guardian, and so to him being like, okay, how can I be in as close proximity to the guardian position without actually being the guardian, which is by dating the guardian. I don't know if they said it in the book or not, so I don't know if, like, how long Jay and Talia have been dating. I don't know if they started dating before or after Talia was made guardian, but regardless, I feel like you can still apply that general mindset to regardless if, like, whether it was before or after Talia became guardian, which also just makes me think that Jay is only staying in this relationship with Talia because he's just waiting for Talia to screw up, for her to falter a little bit, so that he can swoop in and, like, become guardian. I don't know how, like, the transfer of power would, like, works in terms of guardian, but I mean, Almana was just like, hey, Talia, you're guardian now, and then dips. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Talia does make, like, some kind of mistake, and then Jay comes in and he's like, oh, well, she's unqualified to be guardian, so I guess it should be me now. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, honestly. And whether that happens naturally or Jay has to kind of put his own plot into motion, I don't know, y'all. I have a bad feeling about this. I feel like it's only a matter of time before something like this happens, and I hate it. Thanks. I hate it. But yeah, Jay's the worst. Fuck Jay. I literally cannot stand him. He just keeps being the most garbage human being ever, and he keeps getting away with it. And I hope bad things happen to him. I hope that Arielle and Hazel team up to kick his ass in book 2. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Fuck Jay. We're moving on now. Next up, we have Harmony. Harmony is complicated, to say the least. She's a really interesting character. At least I think that she's really interesting because you can never really tell exactly what's going on inside her head and what her motives are. She's quiet and she mostly keeps to herself, so it's really hard to get a grasp on like what her end game is. Because on the one hand, Harmony does have her moments where it seems like she's trying to look out for Talia and that it seems like she cares about Talia, even if it's only just because it makes her uncomfortable to see Talia upset. But on the other hand, she's literally having an affair with Talia's boyfriend, so what's going on here? Also, Harmony's relationship with Jay also feels very complicated because, like, on the one hand, it seems like she's romantically or at the very least sexually interested in him. But then on the other hand, she also finds Jay like very annoying and frustrating because he's kind of being very wishy-washy on like staying in this relationship with Talia, and she's like over it but also not. It's all very strange. So as of when I'm recording this, Riley has recently posted some really interesting content that kind of provides more insight into Harmony's character and like how she thinks and how she operates. But I'm not really going to talk about that here because we don't really get to know those things in book 1. These are kind of things that are helping us be set up for book 2. So these are things I will revisit in book 2. But yeah, so if you're wondering why I'm not bringing those things up here, that's why. Anyway, I'm very intrigued about Harmony as a character. I'm very intrigued by her motives and like what her like plans are for like the future. She's very like, she definitely like, she's in a lot of like gray area right now, right? Like I don't really know how to feel about her. I mean, I'm mostly getting bad vibes from her, but like, I don't know. She does have her moments where I'm like, oh, so I don't know. I'm also really interested to know more just like about her backstory, particularly like what it was like growing up with Jay and Talia, because what I will say is that from like some of the art that Riley has posted, it does seem like the three of them did used to actually like each other and be friends. So I'm very curious to know what happened. I mean, like, I kind of have an idea of what happened, but I'll save that little piece for later. I don't know, man. I have this really bad feeling that Jay and Harmony are going to team up and conspire against Talia in book 2 because, I don't know, I feel like as of right now, I feel like Harmony would pick Jay over Talia like 100%. And like I said in Jay's section, I feel like it's really only a matter of time before Jay does something actively malicious towards Talia. Besides cheating on her, of course, but like, you know what I mean. Alright, moving forward, we're going to be talking about the main like characters, like the main characters of Pendant of Hyacinth. And we're going to start with my absolute favorite Pendant of Hyacinth character, Princess Anya. I don't know if she's technically, because she's not a part of like the main trio, but she's a main character in my heart. I love Anya. I loved her introduction in this book. I love her personality. I love her relationships with Arielle and Sheila. I just love literally everything about her. If there was somebody that I could be friends with in the Pendant of Hyacinth universe, it would definitely be her. Absolutely 100%. I think Anya's the absolute coolest. Like, she's so spunky and independent, and she has like this very much like I don't give a fuck attitude. She's not afraid to say what's on her mind, especially if somebody tries to fuck with someone she loves. Chet. I really love her sibling dynamic with Arielle. Even though they're the only siblings in the Pendant of Hyacinth, I think that even if there were like other pairs of siblings, they would still be my favorite siblings, because their scenes together are like some of my favorites. Just the fact that Anya is willing to go to such lengths for her brother, like the fact that she was literally ready to like fucking fist fight Chet, and also when she did like the fake duel with Arielle so that he could escape and like go and find Hazel. Like I think that all that speaks volumes about their relationship. I also love that she just like I love when they tease each other. I love those moments. I think they're so great. I also really love the duel scene, the fake duel scene. I love how like Anya is like putting on this part that she feels like overshadowed and jealous of her brother, and Arielle, he like stops and he's like, wait, really? It's like, I didn't know you felt that way. Like he's so like concerned about her feelings, and she's like, no, dummy, like I'm just acting, bro, like I'm just trying to help you. Like I thought that was so great. I thought it was so funny, bro. I also love the Chet scene too, of course, because, you know, I feel like we've already established that I love it when Chet gets slandered. Like, I love some Chet slander. I've also got to say that while I feel like Anya had, like, some of my favorite, like, funny scenes, I also felt so fucking bad for her at times. Like, so much that it made my heart hurt, bro. Like, her dealing with, like, the fact that she got attacked by the nightmare when she was, like, on her travels, like, through, like, her gap year, like, that really hurt me, and like her feeling like she couldn't talk to anyone about it. But then also just like her pining over Sheila, like those moments really hurt me. They really struck a chord with me, bro. As much as I love the moments where Anya is again like, I don't give a fuck, and she's very like sassy and like sharp-tongued and like whatnot, I also really love the moments where she's very like vulnerable, particularly with Sheila. I'm really glad that she was able to get like her feelings for Sheila off of her chest. I'm also really happy that they're going slow. I really like that they didn't just immediately like get together in this book. I thought that was really well done. I love that they're going slow. They're so sweet. They're so cute. I love them so much. I hope they have all the best picnic dates. Like, honestly, I would just read like a whole spin-off of like Anya and Sheila going on adventures. Like, I love them. I love them so much. Like, I honestly, I would pay for more Anya content. Like, genuinely, I would, because I love her and I think she's the best. Alright, we have finally arrived, the moment you've all been waiting for me to finally talk about our main trio, the main three characters of the Pendant of Hyacinth. And, you know, since we just talked about Anya, I felt that what better way than to segue into this section than to talk about Arielle. Now, while Anya is my favorite character, Arielle is the character I relate to the most, which makes him my second favorite character. I just feel so bad for this poor man. We're actually also the same age, kind of funny enough, but I always like think that he's older than me, but we're literally the same age. But I just feel so bad for him because Arielle, he's a good person and he has such good intentions and he's always trying to do the right thing, but you know, the world just keeps throwing him curveballs, like, you know, 14-year-olds tying him to trees and leaving him there, and then just people getting him drunk and recording him in a vulnerable state. Like, he's really trying his best, but life is not making it easy for him. Which, by the way, I still don't understand how the whole tree situation happened. Like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Like, did the pendant also give, like, Hazel super strength too? Or, like, what? Like, I'm so confused, but anyway. But again, Arielle really is just, like, trying his best. Like, but I feel so sad for him. I literally was like tearing up during like after like the whole mess with like Chet and like all that bullshit. Like, I was like, by the way, I read most of this book while I was at work, and so here I am just sitting at work and there's like tears trickling down my face as I'm reading that section, because it just made me so sad when he was like, I don't matter to people. It's like he felt so unimportant and just insignificant. I was like, no, stop, don't talk like that. It made me sad. Like, literally, there were just like tears trickling down my face. Like, I'm really glad none of my coworkers walked by while that was happening, because they would have been like, are you okay? Like, what's going on, bestie? But that part really made me sad for him, like, genuinely, because I know that like at first it was like supposed to be kind of comedic of like he's very drunk / like also like kind of at that point, I think when he was saying that, he was like kind of like not really as drunk, he was kind of hungover, like whatever, but then when he like kind of the hilarity of the moment kind of breaks, and then he's just like, nobody cares about me. I was like, ow, ow, ow. But also, like, same. I really relate to Arielle. It's kind of concerning. Also, it really, really made me sad how, like, besides his family, and don't get me wrong, the Kendall family, I love them. They're my favorite family in the Pendant of Hyacinth universe. They're great. But besides them, like, and they're, like, especially, like, the king and the queen, they're busy. Like, Arielle doesn't really have much of, like, a support system in Knowledge Terrace. Like, again, the one time he tried to, like, be social and make friends, they took advantage of him, and that just makes me really sad. Also, what really, like, pissed me off for Arielle was the fact that, like, apparently everybody in, like, fucking Knowledge Terrace is like, super mindless and, like, swayed so easily. Like, I don't know, like, that mob mentality is very strong, because the fact that their public opinion was able to be, like, turned so poorly of, like, Arielle, like, so easily. Like, and I get that, like, he doesn't really interact with the people very often, but, like, still, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they were being assholes to him. And then, like, that was also crazy to me, is the fact that they were literally, like, verbally assaulting him, and then when he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna take this anymore, I'm gonna go leave, they were like, surprise Pikachu face. Like, they were like, what? Like, the fact that they just thought that they could all, like, verbally assault this man, and that he could, and just, like, that nothing would happen, it's just, like, I'm like, come on, y'all. Like, aren't y'all supposed to be smart or something? Like, clearly the intelligence does not translate to emotional intelligence here. Like, but I did really love when Arielle leaves Knowledge Terrace, because I feel like he really just needed to get away from that, like, environment. And I love the time that he spends in Slope's End. I love his relationships with, like, everyone in Hazel's family, including Hazel, and then also Hazel's friends. Like, I thought that was really, really well done. It was really nice for him to just kind of, like, relax for a bit. I also, of course, I have to talk about it. I loved his Felix persona. I loved it so much. Like, I was honestly really surprised with, like, how flirtatious he was able to go, because it was like, I was like, damn. I was like, I know that if it was me, if I was Caleb or Xander, I would be feeling very flustered. And I mean, they were too, but, like, damn. Like, Arielle, he's got moves. Like, damn. I really, really love that persona. It makes you think that, maybe it's not so much of a persona, but, like, it's just not a part of him that he really gets to access very often. But I really loved those moments. I thought that was a really great part of, like, Arielle's, like, arc in this book. Just, like, the fact that, you know, he got to do something kind of ridiculous and, like, not really need to, like, be all up in his head about it. I really like that a lot. I know that Arielle obviously has his flaws, like demonstrated in the prologue, of him kind of having this kind of, like, self-righteous, like, I'm smarter than you, like, attitude, and also just, like, the fact that he is kind of, like, always trying to kind of, like, micromanage things a little bit. But, like, besides that, I still think he's a really great character, and I want to give him a hug. I want to give him a hug so bad, because, again, he's just trying his best, but, like, literally, like, everything he does that he thinks is, like, the right thing turns out to not be, like, the best thing he could have done, because just, again, life throws him a curveball. But yeah, I love Arielle. He is absolutely one of my favorite characters in this series. Next up, we are going to talk about Hazel. I love Hazel. I really fell in love with Hazel more than I expected to. I mean, like, I already kind of knew going into it. I felt like I was going to like Hazel, but damn, they have a very, like, natural charisma to them that I think is really, really, it's just, they're a really fun character, and you, like, want to get to know them. It's like you want to be their friends. Like, they're very, like, friendly. I really like that about them. I also think that Hazel is just such, like, a wonderful breath of fresh air as, like, a protagonist, because between, like, Arielle and Talia, like, having to deal with, like, all of their issues, and I mean, like, rightfully so, like, I love both Arielle and Talia, but, you know, they are definitely very flawed people. And not to say that Hazel doesn't have their flaws, but Hazel, I really like that Hazel is very, like, emotionally intelligent. I love, you know, some people might view it as like naivete, but like I think that the way that Hazel is like just able to kind of like Hazel they're very honest, and they're able to just kind of like call things and like see it as it is, and like also just like see like the best in people. Like the fact that they were able to like psychoanalyze Jonathan like when they first met him was really funny, but also just like it shows again just like how like much emotional intelligence there is in that 14-year-old brain, which is very impressive for their age. I also think that like Hazel is very kind of like is like a good mix of all of their friends. Like they definitely aren't quite as like chaotic as Maku and Monty can be, but they're also not quite as like chill and like calm and collected as the Nami. So I feel like they're kind of like somewhere in the middle. They're like a good mix of like all the people around them, and also just like from like their moms too. I think Chai and Crimson have had a very good influence on Hazel as a person. I will say though, I definitely am very much, you know, scratching my head at the decision by Hazel to go off on this adventure to save the world, and just not tell anyone. Like that, like I do get it from the sense of like, oh, if I told my moms, they'd be like, no, you're not going, you're 14, what are you doing? But like also like you could have at least sent them like a note or something, like told someone to like pass on a message. Like I don't know, I feel like that was like maybe that could have been handled better, because you know at least definitely Arielle is like that could have been handled better. But yeah, I really really love Hazel. I'm very very interested to know more about like why they were the one who were given this pendant, and like I like Talia. I'm also very curious to know like I mean I'm sure I'm sure that probably Hazel is the only one who can use it because like, you know, main character things, but I'm curious to know why. I want to know the why of like why they are the only one who have the ability to transform nightmares back into dreams. I'm very very curious about that. But yeah, great character all around. They're so fun. They're this perfect blend of like chaos, but then also just like again like emotional intelligence that just creates this really wonderful character. Now last but certainly not least, we have Miss Talia Faye. I love Talia. I love her so much. I think honestly, I'm trying to like, I would definitely, in terms of like my ranking of like my favorite characters, Anya's absolutely top tier favorite character, then Arielle, and then I'd have to say Hazel and Talia are probably tied because I really really like them both a lot. I think she is so cool. Like I love that she's definitely like this very like badass like cool woman, but also she's very like vulnerable and she has a very good heart. She's very compassionate. I love the scene where she's comforting Esme. Like I think that was a really sweet one. She clearly has such a big heart, and it's so obvious why she was chosen to be guardian, in the sense that like she like not only has like the physical capabilities of being like the physical demand to be guardian, but then is also like she has enough like emotional intelligence to like, you know, really help people around her and do more than just like physically protecting them, but then also like helping them and connecting with them on like an emotional level, which I think is really cool. I love Talia a lot, and because I love her so much, I also really worry for her. Just like with Arielle, it makes me really sad that she doesn't have a lot of like good people around her. And like what I mean by that is obviously like the knights, like they're fine, most of them, and I'm sure her family's great. We just don't really get to see a lot of them in this book, but the two main people that she's around like all the time are Jay and Harmony, and like we've already discussed how I feel about them. And so it makes me very sad that like again like her boyfriend and her best friend are like, again, the people she should be able to rely on the most are like the people that are going to let her down in the most profound way, and that really really breaks my heart. I also, again, putting that aside though, I actually think it's really interesting that she's friends with Maku. Like I said, when I talked about Maku in part 1, I'm very curious to know like the history there and like when they met and like all that, because like I really want to know like how that happened, because it's very funny. I feel like Talia and Maku are very different people, but they actually have a really kind of like sweet like wholesome relationship, even though I'm sure Maku would rather die than ever admit that. But yeah, so anyway, again, it makes me really sad to like know that like Talia is doing her best to like be like essentially perfect for everyone. Like she's taking on so much, and she's still so young. Like she's only 19. Like a lot has been put on her for her age, and for her to have to take it on like all on her own. Again, when the people she should be able to rely on are not reliable, like that is really, really heartbreaking. The scenes where it's like she's having like the nightmares about like failing like the people around her, that just like makes me so, those scenes really, really made me sad, because it just like it shows just how much she cares and how much she feels like she can't fuck anything up, because if she does, everything around her will crumble. And that I relate to that, and it's just it is a not fun place to be in mentally. That makes me really sad for her. Also, it really makes me sad the fact that she feels like she needs to stay in this relationship with Jay. Riley has posted like something that kind of provides some insight on why she feels like she needs to stay with Jay, but I'm not going to talk about that, because that's clearly like a book 2 conversation that she posted to like promote book 2. So we're talking about book 1 here, so I'm not going to go over it. But it makes me very sad that she is literally like, she's so cool. She is so cool, and she's so funny and smart and so nice. And the fact that she feels like she has to settle for fucking Jay oh, it hurts me. It hurts me. Honestly, here's the thing. Like, I definitely like the Talia Arielle like relationship. I think it's cute. But to be honest, as of at this point, I'm honestly more okay with Talia just being on her own. Like, I feel like she just needs to be like single for a while, and then she can like maybe later on like her and Arielle can get together. But I just feel like she needs to dump Jay and then again like be single for a while, because like, you know, the the fate of the world is kind of at stake a little bit, you know, that's kind of happening. But also just like for herself, I think that's what she really needs to do personally. Hi friends, so originally I was going to follow up this section by talking about Almana, but I decided that I actually want to dedicate an entire video to her, because this video is already really, really long, and I have a pretty decent amount of things I want to say about her, so there will be a bonus video going up next Saturday about Almana, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, we have reached the end, at long last, the conclusion of my review of The Pendant of Hyacinth Book 1. I loved this book. I am so excited for book 2 to come out. I cannot wait to read it and then also make a video about it. And then I'm also going to do the same thing for book 3 when that comes out. Book 2 comes out in November, I want to say. I feel like I mentioned this in the last video that I did on The Pendant of Hyacinth, but I can't remember what I said. I can't remember. But I think it comes out in November, so I'm very excited to get my hands on it. And then I'm sure that like, because I think book 1 came out last year, and so book 2 is coming out this year, so I'm sure book 3 will probably come out like either next year or like the following year. I don't really know what Riley's plan is, but we will see. Regardless, I'm very excited. It's been so long since I've had like a fantasy series that I've been like really excited about, so I'm sorry, I'm trying to fix the lighting a little bit. I was so excited to like jump into the world of like The Pendant of Hyacinth. I really like the story. I think the plot is really interesting. But what really makes it is the characters. They're all very distinct and all have like really fun personalities. Whether it's like fun to love them or fun to hate them. Like they're all really good. I definitely, like, if you were thinking about like recommending this series to like somebody you know like that likes fantasy and like fun characters, definitely recommend it. Anyway, that is all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Once again, like I said, for the first part of this review, let me know down below in the comments any thoughts you might have. If there's anything, because I know there's a lot of stuff I didn't cover throughout this review, despite how long it is, and that's why I knew I was gonna have to split it up into 2 parts. But I know there's a lot that I did not talk about, because there's a lot to unpack about this book. So if there's anything that I didn't talk about that you want to discuss, leave a comment down below and I'd love to have a conversation about it. And yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I upload every Wednesday and Friday except when I don't, and sometimes on Saturday, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.